A Black Lives Matter mural in Oak Park gets defaced and is changed to read All Lives Matter. Police are investigating the incident, and the left-wingers are outraged that someone would dare change a message that says that only Black Lives Matter to All Lives Matter in solidarity with equality. But that's where we're at, folks. And this comes recently after a couple was charged for defacing a Black Lives Matter sign and painting over the letters. So we're going to talk about this story, and we're going to talk about the implications here. Now, there's a few things I want to talk about with this story, namely BLM and the horrible things that they've been doing as a movement. And we may as well highlight that story with the death of an 8-year-old girl by Black Lives Matter. And this girl was also black. So you mean to tell me that BLM cares about black life when BLM has caused the direct deaths of more than one African-American person? Here you can see on the Daily Mail, Atlanta cops release a video of a suspect carrying an AR-15 wanted in connection with the deadly shooting of a girl, 8 years old, across the street from Wendy's, where Rayshard Brooks was killed. So Sequoia Turner, 8, died and was killed on Saturday. The girl was gunned down at the Wendy's where Rayshard Brooks was killed. She was riding in the back of her mother's SUV when they encountered an illegal roadblock set up by protesters and tried to drive through, trying to get where they were going. And the gunmen, men patrolling under the banner of Black Lives Matter, shot at this car and killed a black 8-year-old child. The Wendy's turned into a protest site that was patrolled by armed individuals in the wake of Brooks' death.
We are shooting each other up on our streets in this city, and you shot and killed a baby. And it wasn't one shooter, there were at least 2 shooters. An 8-year-old baby. We are doing each other more harm than any police officer on this force. We've had over 75 shootings in this city over the past several weeks.
So, the hysteria has spread all over the country and absolutely gone insane. That these Black Lives Matter activists actually believe that they're justified in shooting innocent people just trying to get where they are going. So as you can see, a lot of these communities who have been completely overrun by so-called protesters like BLM, Antifa, these left-wing activists have completely and utterly gone on a rampage, destroyed cities, burned things down, looted, shot people, injured people, and basically have committed acts terrorizing people. That's what you call it. You call it terror. That's not a peaceful protest. That, my friends, is insurrection. So here we are with this the sign for Black Lives Matter in Oak Park being changed to All Lives Matter. And we're going to talk about this in full, but before we continue, if you're new to the channel, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the bell button for notification for more content. And if you like this video, please consider giving it a share, because I believe this is important, and I believe more people need to hear that all lives do actually matter. They're trying to tell us that all life doesn't matter. The direct implication of that is that only certain life matters. And when you talk about the statement, Black Lives Matter, the fact is BLM activists have hurt and destroyed many black Americans' lives. So Black Lives Matter, a lot with the so-called anti-fascist. Okay, so let me explain something. Antifa stands for anti-fascist, right? Here's the problem. Fascism is the use of authoritarianism, authority, violence, and force to get your way. Now, what methods do Antifa use? Well, they use violence, force, and authoritarian methods. In other words, they call themselves anti-fascist, but really they are fascist. BLM could be seen in a similar light. They say that they care about black lives, and then they go around ending black lives, destroying, looting, black-owned businesses, and in general making things worse for everybody. So, when I hear a story that a Black Lives Matter mural was changed to read All Lives Matter, I don't see any problem with that, and I agree with the message. All lives do matter, because the truth is that anybody of any race can be a victim to injustice, not just black people. Statistically speaking, most victims of cops and police brutality and injustice are white. You're far more likely to be shot as a white man than a black man by police. The data is there. And this is despite the fact that African Americans have a lot of interactions with police disproportionate to their population, which is smaller, much smaller than that of white people. So we're gonna look at the outrage here. What are they saying? Why are they so upset? So this mural is in Scoville Avenue, just south of Lake Street in the near west suburb, and it was unveiled less than 2 weeks ago. And it really shows you a lot. It really exposes a lot when they say that they're upset that it was changed to all lives. I want you to think about that. Does the left in this country and do these left-wing activists believe that all lives matter? And if they don't believe that, I question very much whose side they're on. Are they on the side of everyone, regardless of their skin color? Or do they only favor certain groups of people based on their skin color? You know, I was told that that kind of behavior was prejudiced, that instead of treating people by the color of their skin, you're supposed to treat them equally. Black life matters, but so does all other life, because all life matters. So, let's see. A Black Lives Matter street mural in Oak Park was defaced earlier Wednesday, altered to read, "All Lives Matter." A runner saw the vandalized painting and reported it to police, according to an officer at the scene. The mural was painted with village approval as Oak Park joined a growing number of towns and cities putting up Black Lives Matter art installations. Now, I'm going to tell you why this is dangerous. Black Lives Matter is a brand. It's an organized group, and they've been committing a lot of crime across the country. Now, a lot of these protests have not been peaceful. They ended up with looting, rioting, burning, stealing. It's despicable, and I'm so sick of it, and I think a lot of people are sick of it because we've seen people start to stand up and speak out. Speak out against Black Lives Matter, speak out against the violence, and speak out against the chaos. Nobody wants this garbage. Like, if you're not woke, if you're not a part of the liberal hive mind, you probably look at this stuff and you just shake your head, because these protests and these riots have caused more damage and more loss of life than the police ever have. And I think that says a lot. And they're encouraging this. They're encouraging these groups, which have been blocking roads, disrupting society, and committing crimes. So here's a picture of the mural. I will admit it kind of looks cool, but I'm not sure why they can't just say that all life matters, because you can still talk about police brutality and injustice, but these are people who only believe that only African Americans can be victims. Never mind Hispanics or Asians or white people. Never mind the data. Never mind the statistics. Apparently, only black people can be victims. That's not true. That'll never be true. It's a very stupid thing to believe. Anyone can be a victim, and, you know, it has nothing to do with skin color. If you go out there and you commit a crime, you're probably going to have to deal with police. That's just how it is. At the same time, there is brutality, there is injustice. I've seen it. I've seen so many stories of white men and women being killed by police unjustly. And then the police don't get in trouble, and it's so upsetting. And it's extremely corrupt. But is Black Lives Matter fighting for that? No, they're not. They're saying abolish the police, defund the police. And then crime is skyrocketing. Everywhere we've seen these BLM protests, crime has gone through the roof. Seattle looks like a war zone. New York City is falling apart. Crime is up. So no, the solution is not to get rid of police. The solution isn't to force police to only arrest certain groups of people while letting other people get away with crime. That's not the answer. But it kind of feels like that's what BLM wants. They want the police to look the other way if certain people go out and commit crimes and just leave them alone. And it really makes you wonder, what are their true motivations? Is it to fight against injustice by hurting people, which is what they've been doing, which doesn't make any sense? Or maybe they want something else. Maybe they just want a world without police so they could do whatever they want. So vandalizers used black paint to paint over some of the letters and altered others with white paper to morph the phrase Black Lives Matter into All Lives Matter. Now, this is clearly a statement of protest against not against Black life, because I see a lot of people, especially left-wingers, claiming that if you say that all lives matter, you're saying that Black lives don't matter, which is nonsense. All lives includes Black lives. It's a much better statement because everyone gets to be involved. All lives matter, including those that are unjustly killed. And we're going to stand up for them, and we're going to fight back against injustice in a peaceful way that's constructive and actually gets something done. Instead, BLM chose to focus on identity, they chose to focus on race, and they have rejected the idea that white people can be victims too. And, there's other races, there's Asians, there's Hispanics, Native Americans, the list goes on. Anyone can be a victim. So Oak Park employees from the Department of Public Works, they power washed the sign, and they're trying to restore it back to its original glory. So hundreds of community members rallied using chalk to write supportive messages. Quote, "Well, this morning sucked. It has clearly turned into something really beautiful," Kelly told the crowd. "We created this mural to cause a conversation, and it kind of did. And people were really thankful we did. But the conversation didn't really start until today, after it was defaced, because a lot of people didn't realize we had this problem." Shut up! I'm so sick of all these woke white women who go around and they just preach the left-wing gospel. We are having a conversation. Do you ever stop to think that maybe the world is bigger than your bubble, and that there is some people who believe that Black Lives Matter is a terrible organization, it's a bad brand, and that there are some people who actually believe that all life matters, and that we're all important, including Black life. See, they can't even begin to have a conversation because they don't want a conversation. They want an echo chamber. They just want to pat each other on the back and say, "We did it, guys. We fixed the world." Meanwhile, things actually get worse due to their actions. They shot another kid. They beat another man. They burned down another city. Who are you helping? Maybe just yourself and your egotistical power trip. And this is what pisses me off the most. The fact that they claim that all lives matter is a racist slogan. Like, are you stupid? Are you stupid? If you think that all life matters, that includes every race on Earth. And that's literally the opposite of racism. So I guess you are stupid. So Michaela Pye, a rising junior at Oak Park. Okay, another woke female person? I don't know, am I seeing a pattern here with this wokeness? A rising junior at Oak Park River Forest High School and one of the event's organizers then called on Oak residents to realize that racism exists within their community despite its reputation as a diverse and very liberal place. Okay, yeah. There's nothing racist about this. Again, it's the opposite of racism because all lives matter. Their lack of self-awareness is amazing. They go on to say, quote, "Black Lives Matter should not be a controversial statement," Pye said. "Neither should all lives matter, you dipshit." Quote, "If you hear Black Lives Matter, and immediately your response is to say that all lives matter, that says a lot about how you perceive race." Oh my God. I know some people are born with room temperature IQs, so I know that for some people it's really hard to be logical and rational and actually have a brain, but I'm going to explain something once again. If you say that all lives matter, you perceive all races as equal, in that they all matter. You understand? And the sad part about the Black Lives Matter phrase and brand is that BLM does not care about Black lives. Otherwise, they wouldn't be causing the death of so many Black people. David Dorn, retired Black police officer, killed by a BLM looter. That 8-year-old child killed by a BLM shooter. Multiple suspects. So you want to tell me that Black Lives Matter to Black Lives Matter? No, I don't think so. I don't think they do. I think all lives matter is a much, much better statement, and it's actually a peaceful statement and a good statement. So, this was the newly altered one. It says all life matters, and they destroyed it. So they've gotten rid of it. They want to change it back. And there you have it, folks. These people are clueless. They're absolutely blind. And they actually believe that nobody else matters but them and their movement and their beliefs and their ideology. Screw everyone else. So you know what? I think that all life does matter. I think that no matter what race you are, you do matter. Because we're all part of the same community. And we need a much better phrase to talk about injustice. Because injustice doesn't just happen to the Black community. It happens to all of us all the time. And we can't even begin to have real solutions until we acknowledge that. Acknowledge that all lives do matter. That includes black ones. But that's merely the obvious. Well, that's all for now, folks. What do you think about this story? I'm just flabbergasted at this point, folks. It's so insane how blind these people are. And, it's not conservatives doing this. It's the woke left. It's their diseased ideology that seems to be spreading like a sickness throughout so many minds in America. But I think I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think down below in the comment section. Now, if you like my videos and want to support the work, you can join me on Patreon or Subscribestar for as low as $1. This will give you access to a private Discord server. If you want to donate, there's DonorBox and Bitcoin. Links are down below. And lastly, sharing this video is one of the best things you can do. Now, I wouldn't exactly call myself, a right-winger. I would call myself a right-leaning libertarian. I'm kind of a centrist. I also believe in nationalism, so I'm not really in my political leanings. I believe in freedom. I believe in order. But that being said, if you're right-leaning of Stalin, YouTube and all these platforms, they're not going to promote you as much. So if you want to share the video, if you like my content, that would be great. If you don't want to, that's cool too. And of course, if you like merch, it's the summer. It's getting hot, hot, hot. And if you want some nice summer clothes, check out my merch store. I've got some beautiful designs. You might like them. Anyhow, thanks for watching. This has been Mr. Obvious, and I'll see you all next time.